You're listening to Catholic Chicago on WNDZ 750 AM. During the next hour, the Archdiocese of Chicago brings you programs about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
Welcome to Catholic Chicago on WNDZ 750 AM, 312-255-8408. Father Greg Sakowitz, the rector at Holy Name Cathedral, and co-host Mark Teresi, executive director of the cathedral. Good morning, Mark. How are you doing today?
Good morning. What a beautiful morning in Chicago.
It is spectacular. In fact, they're talking beautiful weather the next several days. But when I was younger, I always thought that May was a more beautiful month than September. Is the exact opposite. September in Chicago usually is a beautiful month. In May, a lot of rain, can still be colder. And by the way, for those that are, in fact, we are also on youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. If you're watching via the live stream that way, we have new headphone sets thanks to Michael and Brian and Javi. It's like little earpieces. Yeah, it feels, how are yours working okay?
Yeah, I take my hearing aids out to put them in. Maybe I'll take these home with me.
It's actually not so bad here. So 312-255-8408. Tremendous program lined up this morning here on Catholic Chicago. Food for the Poor, supporting communities in Haiti. For the past 16 years, Father Medard Laz, founding pastor of Holy Family Parish in Inverness, has organized an annual fundraiser to help build homes, schools, and hospital additions in Haiti. The fundraisers, in partnership with the nonprofit Food for the Poor, took place in person throughout the northwest suburbs until the COVID-19 pandemic. This year's fundraiser will take place virtually a week from today, September 16th, and will feature a conversation with Andre the Hawk Dawson, former Cub and Hall of Famer. So with us via all the way from Florida, Father Med Laz. Welcome to the program. Good morning, Med. How are you?
Good to be with you this morning. I'm doing great.
Now,
I'm doing wonderful.
Med,
good to be with you and with Mark.
Thank you. Good to see you.
First of all, Med is one of the outstanding priests ordained from the Archdiocese of Chicago. Med ordained in 70 what?
69.
Are you? Oh, you're 69. Okay, you're 10 years because I was ordained 79, so 10 years apart. How is your health, by the way?
Health is good. You know, some new hip, and on Tuesday I had the retina replaced in my right eyes. But you know, I'm 77 years old now, so it's time to do a little bit of
maintenance,
replacement, and updating.
Now, you took a bad fall some months ago. You were walking.
Yeah, I fell in November and broke my femur, but you learn a lot. You know, you're in a wheelchair for 11 weeks, and so you learn a lot.
And maybe before we begin talking about the Food for the Poor and the great work you do in connection with Haiti, just tell folks, because I'm one of the subscribers, to Treats for the Soul. It comes out daily on the, get to the computer, to the website. Just tell us for a moment about Treats for the Soul, which is, folks, Father Laz can give you the link. Go to it. It is outstanding daily reflections. I think it's one of the best things I've seen in years. So tell us about that for a second.
Yeah, it's always been a dream of mine to, with the technology age, to be able to reach out to people. And so, way back when in my priesthood, I learned that it's so important to, not just share Eucharist with people, but Eucharist should be fresh bread. And so when I started this website, treatsforthesoul.org, I decided that every day I'm going to have a little something that will come out. Often enough, it's quite spiritual. Often enough, it ties you into deepening your relationship with Jesus. I try to do that. And so it's relatively short. You can listen to it or read it in 2-3 minutes, if that. And it's truly a thought for the day. But I think even beyond that, it helps you to grow spiritually. So that was the goal. Come October, it'll be 3 years that every day something new has come out that I put online. And I just heard from a deacon in Nashville yesterday, and he says that his people who go on our Eucharistic ministers, they read it. He shares it with them every day, and they even discuss it at times and before going out. In Arlington Heights at St. James Parish, Katie Soa sends it out every day to her 76 lectors. And so it's that kind of hopefully a spiritual uplift, if you would.
It arrives on my computer every day about 6 a.m. How many subscribers do you have to it?
Over 1,000. Somehow I don't watch the numbers that closely, but we it's free. That's the neat thing about it. Cost you nothing.
Now, if somebody wants to actually, one of our listeners right now were to say, I'd like to get onto that, all they have to do is what, Med?
Is type in www.treats, plural, treatsforthesoul.org, and take any of the treats. Today's on discouragement or whatever, and down at the bottom of a daily treat, first name, last name, email, and just hit subscribe.
Good.
And you're on. You'll receive it, East Coast time about 7 o'clock every morning, 6 o'clock Chicago time every morning.
That's exactly right.
A little treat will come. Now, and you've been a great supporter of it, Greg.
Wonderful
supporter.
I read it every day. It is phenomenal. It's truly treats for the soul, food for the soul.
No,
Thank you.
Matt, I had a question. That's such an innovative idea, Holy Family, innovation. We're dealing with COVID now. You've been such an advocate of lay leadership in the church. How do you see that at this time during COVID in terms of where does lay leadership fit into moving us forward through this pandemic?
Well, I think we need to be with people. There's still such a divide in our country, Mark. I think those who, are full believers in being vaccinated, and other people who still have some questions. Is it safe? Will it lead to longer term problems? But what Pope Francis is saying and teaching, what Jesus did, accompaniment. Mm-hmm. So on whichever side, a person might find themselves, we need to walk with them. We need to accompany them. We need to accept them, whatever their position is on something like COVID and the shots. And I think that, I think it's accompaniment. Obviously, Pope Francis, myself personally, Cardinal Supich in Chicago, is very much, exhorting people to be vaccinated, to be safe from catching COVID. But I think that, we need to walk with people. We need to accompany
Ned,
them.
when you got the shots, did you get any side effects afterwards?
After the second one, a little bit. Went home and took a nap for 2 hours, and I was fine.
The only side effect I had on the second shot the next day, I had a craving for Purina dog chow. Is that normal? Let's switch gears here.
Maybe for you.
I didn't realize you like dog food. Just to switch gears, you do tremendous work for the people in Haiti, and as poor a country, and the need is so great. The horrific earthquake from last month. Mm-hmm. I know you have a close-up view. You talk to people. Just tell us, how bad was the devastation in Haiti?
So August the 14th, Saturday morning, a 7.2 earthquake hit in Haiti. And it was along that peninsula going west from Port-au-Prince. And there's 1.4 million people who live in that peninsula, jetting out from Port-au-Prince, going to the west. And so it was devastating in every way, shape, and form. Interestingly enough, churches of all things were almost the hardest hit.
Interesting.
And then hospitals along with homes. And so it was just a devastating earthquake, and maybe 60,000 homes were completely destroyed, and tens of thousands of other homes also had severe structural damage. And then there was so much aftershock. Even 2 and 3 weeks later, even now, people are feeling aftershocks. About a week ago, Greg, there was a 5.8 aftershock.
Wow.
So people, there's probably 300,000 to 400,000 people who are still at night sleeping outside.
Mm.
And with that, you know how hot it is, say in Chicago, here in Florida.
Yes.
Haiti is equally here in September, hot and humid this time of year.
Now, has water been cut off? Have they lost water supply?
I'm sorry?
Have they lost their water supply?
Yes, very much so. And the water, is contaminated. So that's a huge relief effort on the part of Catholic agencies, Food for the Poor, of course, and then the United States is flying in water, food, medicines, and the like as such with the devastation. And then right afterwards was hurricane, a tropical storm and hurricane
Ida?
Grace came through.
Grace
and so, within a matter of days.
Now, Med, 16 years you've been involved. How did you go from Inverness to Haiti in terms of an involvement like that? What connected you?
Very good question. Yeah. One of the things while I was pastor and a priest in Chicago, I didn't say this to anybody. I knew what I was feeling inside. Helped to build with great support. A magnificent building there in Inverness. And yet I'm saying to myself, is that all God is calling me to do? Is to build a magnificent cathedral, basilica, or whatever? The church is really the people. And so that was eating away at me. So as soon as Cardinal George allowed me to, to leave Chicago, in a sense, I got involved with Haiti, and have been doing a number of things with Food for the Poor. So for me, that it was not that much of a stretch, in the sense of there was another side to priesthood, another side to vocation, and I think early on, before I went to Quigley and the seminaries in Chicago, I asked myself, do I want to be a missionary? Do I want to go and to other countries, be it India or the Caribbean or the like? And I decided, not now, maybe later someday. And so, when I came back, Mark, from prostate cancer 17 years ago, and it looked like it had spread up here to T2 and T3.
Oh, wow.
So I thought my days on planet Earth were, lucky to get
Limited.
another 6 months. And those would be 6 months where, I'd be all hooked up with morphine drips. And so I came back, I was operated at Northwestern Memorial, and they took out my prostate, Dr. Catalona did. And I came back here the first Sunday back in South Florida. I was saying Mass at St. Joan of Arc in Boca Raton, and a woman comes up to me and, she said about my getting involved with Just Faith, and it's in any number of parishes throughout the country where people get together and talk about Mother Teresa, Oscar Romero, and the like, and then how can we reach out to the world? It was just what I was looking for. I made that initial trip down to Dominican Republic, and I wasn't hardly off the plane. And we were, spent about 4 hours going through these bateys where people cut sugarcane from 5 in the morning till 9 at night when the sun is out. and got maybe 50 cents or $1 a day. And I saw hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that afternoon, and not a one of them had an ounce of hope in their face. I said, I know what God's calling me to do with the rest of my life.
Wow.
As a parish priest, I've had people, die, right next to me, having brought them communion or anointed them. But I'd never been exposed to person after person or person, right outside the SUV window, without any hope as such. So that just changed the direction of my life.
Beautiful. We're going to take a little break. WNDZ 750 AM, Catholic Chicago, 312-255-8408. Or you can go to youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. We'll be back with Father Med Laz and Andre the Hawk Dawson to talk now about the fundraiser to help build homes, schools, hospitals in Haiti. Med, it sounds like you had a plan, but God had a plan, and you're responding to it. Sounds beautiful. We'll be back in a few minutes. God bless.
Do you have an old bicycle that's not being used? Consider donating it to Catholic Charities Veterans Bike Project of Lake County. Skilled volunteers are refurbishing bicycles to make them safe and ready to be used by veterans to get to and from their new places of work. We also gratefully accept financial contributions that are used to purchase bike helmets and other safety accessories. Our veterans have faithfully served the United States, and now it is our privilege to serve them. For more information on the Veterans Bike Project of Lake County, call 847-782-4219. That's 847-782-4219.
We're back, Catholic Chicago, WNDZ 750 AM. Or you can go to YouTube, see us on youtube.com/Catholic Chicago with Father Med Laz. Med, let's start to talk about this benefit now that you're hosting. You've hosted over the years to help.
Mark, could your microphone get turned up a bit?
I don't know.
Can you hear us now, Med?
Can you hear it better
Yes,
now?
better.
Okay. Through the mask.
Remember, you are 77, okay?
And
I'm not too far behind
Now
you.
real good. Very good now.
Now good? Okay. I just said, let's just jump into the benefit. Talk to our listeners a little bit about how you got into it, what the benefit supports, how they can connect with it, all of that.
Well, for the last 15 years, we've been raising money. Our goal is usually $100,000 a year. And with that goal, we can build a school in Haiti. We can build an operating room at a hospital. We can start a fishing village. So we build homes, of course, and dig wells. So we do a variety of things, kind of where the need is the greatest. And that's pretty much what I ask every year. What is within our realm of a project that the people need the most? And so this year, what they needed the most was a school in Rousseau, École Nationale Pulicine. And so the kids are outside, in the hot sun trying to learn. When it rains, they have to go home. Hurricane Matthew in 2016 came through that peninsula, same place where this earthquake hit. 160-mile-an-hour winds sustained for 8 hours without stop. Animals, humans, just got picked up and thrown out into the sea. Wow. It was so devastating. And so they're just recovering from that. And now this earthquake plus a tropical storm has hit. So every year we had a dinner in Chicagoland in the northern suburbs. Last year with COVID, we had a virtual event. And this year, again, we're having a virtual event. And as a result of that, I thought, gee, it would be kind of neat to have a guest interview. Mm-hmm. And I had heard that Andre Dawson, the former Cub great, Hall of Famer, was a funeral director in South Florida.
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
So I got in contact with Andre and his wife, Vanessa. And a couple of weeks ago, I went and with all the lighting and things like that, would you believe I had an opportunity to chat with him for 2.5 hours.
No kidding. I hear he's a great, great gentleman.
He is. And so we're trying to get the word out to people far and wide to listen. So one of the segments of our fundraising virtual event next Thursday, a week from today, at 7:00 Central Standard Time, is a recap with pictures of all the different projects of 15 years.
Wonderful.
And then there's of course the sharing about this year's project and what we hope to do with the conditions that the kids and the families are living in, and what this year's project is going to entail. Of course, then there's the interview with Andre Dawson.
Give us a sneak, Med, give us a sneak preview about some of the things you talked about with Andre Dawson. Of course, he was a former Cub, Hall of Famer, tremendous power and home run power. Because I think he started with the Montreal Expos and then moved along with his career.
And a fan favorite.
Oh, he was always a fan favorite wherever he went, and a clutch hitter. He loved to hit at Wrigley Field. And so give us maybe, not part of the interview, but what are the things that you maybe talked about with Andre?
And so we talked about, his growing up years, a bit in terms of how he got the name The Hawk. His uncle gave him that name. And, his dedication, his work ethic was second to none. He had leg problems from the time he was a teenager, and how he always worked hard to overcome them. And then we talked about, an awful lot about his life today. Funeral director, what other notable sports figure, in our lifetime has ever gone from the tennis court, the basketball court, the football or baseball field and become a funeral director? And so Andre actually goes in and picks up bodies. He just doesn't delegate all the dirty work to somebody else. He cleans the bathroom. The week before we were there, he said he had the most funerals in I think 10 years that he's been an owner and funeral director. He had 13 funerals the week before. And so I asked him, some of the parallels between being a funeral director and a Major League Hall of Famer. He said, first of all, team is so important. You don't do it alone. Mm-hmm. You need all the other people and a team spirit for all of that. And then, of course, it's that dedication to the community. His is really a life of service. Yeah. His is really it's a vocation. Just as he had a calling, and I think I almost ended the interview with him that way. Andre, just as you had a calling, from God, given the skills, given the balance and the body that you were given to be a great Major League Baseball player, God also gave you the the skills in a second calling, to be, a funeral director, to go and console people.
Andre
And so
Dawson
through
was a
COVID
great humanitarian during his playing days in Chicago with the Cubs.
Now, I had a
Sure.
question. Can a Sox fan like Father Greg sign up for this event, and how do you sign up for this event? He's very
Yeah,
interested.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. I know that Father Greg is a rabid Sox fan, and they take their heat living in a city like Chicago from all different fans.
Even though
But,
Matt, I've always been a diehard White Sox fan, I never cheer
Oh,
against
yeah.
the Cubs unless they play the White Sox. But in 2016, when the Cubs brought it home, I was cheering because they are from Chicago, and God bless the Cubs. And then now they're in rebuilding mode again. But tell us how anybody can be part of next Thursday's
Right.
virtual event.
To sign up to RSVP and register for our event coming up, it's www.foodforthepoor.org/building dreams, because
One
that's
more
what
time.
we're doing
One more
in,
time.
in Haiti. We're building dreams. So it's www.foodforthepoor.org/building dreams.
And begins 1 week from today, 7 p.m. Chicago time.
Correct.
And
Central Standard Time, Chicago time.
Virtual means so many things nowadays in terms of events. What will the event look like for people? So if they're signing up, what are they signing up for besides that interview?
That's it. So they're signing up for the interview and for the presentation. We're basically going to talk about the school that we're building this year. We're going to talk about our past projects. We're going to have the interview with Andre Dawson, and that's about it.
And they can give their gift right online during the event.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
Now,
Or
Matt,
before or after it.
Right.
Matt, I have to ask you this question. Food for the Poor is a huge, huge organization. Is the work
Yes.
you do you work directly with Food for the Poor, or you connected into Haiti? I'm a little bit unclear about that, because Food for the Poor, I receive their mailings and contribute. So do you work directly with Food for the Poor?
Yes, absolutely. I've never earned a penny, so I'm not on staff. I'm not on salary. Some priests, some of our Chicago priests, will go out and do appeals in parishes across the country as such, and priests and ministers, will do that. Myself, I'm a total volunteer, but I work with them in the sense of these yearly projects that raise funds, go down to Haiti, investigate the projects, follow up on the projects to see that that they're being carried out and done. And I've had nothing but just wonderful experience with Food for the Poor. Their administrative costs are very, very, very low. So many times people say, after the 2010 earthquake in Haiti, where did all that money go? Well, I think in a lot of other, charities, administrative costs ate up an awful lot of the donations. That is not the case with Food for the Poor. And I know that because, I work alongside of them, and I see them operate both here in the States and in places like Haiti.
Beautiful.
We want to thank in a very special way Father Med Lass for joining us here this morning. Med, you have always been an outstanding, fantastic priest at Archdiocese of Chicago. You're high energy, very creative. Do you realize that you and I go back? I met you in the 70s when I was a seminarian and you were a young priest, and we worked together with Susie Yale for Rainbows for All Gone Children.
Yeah, exactly.
And you were the founder of that, very creative. So God bless you. We keep in prayer your big event with Andre Dawson.
And Mark Teresi was instrumental. We did 3 pilot schools, and Mark was very close to Susie, as was I, and Mark was the one that got that. We started with 3 pilot schools at Easter, and over 3 million kids around the world have made rainbows now. So things can happen, when you're working with the Lord.
My wife at St. Martha's was on that first team. She speaks so highly of you and Susie Yale.
And I was part of the very first team that was part of a high school retreat for rainbows.
And we did it at Niles College, too. We did Kaleidoscope there.
Exactly. And Mark and I
Beautiful.
facilitated that. So,
Yeah.
Med, thank you. God bless you for the great work you do. And go Cubs, especially for next year. Listening to Catholic Chicago on
This
WNDZ
year's the White
750 AM, 312-255-8408. You can also get us on YouTube.com/Catholic Chicago. Father Greg Sakowicz, Mark Teresi, stay with us and do not touch that dial.
Catholic Charities in Lake County provides a comprehensive range of social services supporting individuals, families, and older adults. These include crisis assistance, shelter, clothing, family support, counseling, legal assistance, primary health care, and specialized services for seniors and veterans. Grab-and-go meals and food pantries help those who are experiencing food insecurity. Plus, we have a diaper depot to support low-income families and their infants. If we can assist you or someone you know, please call Catholic Charities of Lake County at 847-782-4000. That's 847-782-4000.
The Cemetery Ministry is a core ministry of our Catholic faith tied to the corporal works of mercy. It's comforting to know that our Catholic cemeteries are caring for the remains of our loved ones awaiting the resurrection. There are 44 Archdiocese of Chicago Catholic cemeteries willing to help you in your time of loss. Call 708-449-6100 or visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org. Catholic Cemeteries, serving the Catholic community since 1837.
You're listening to Catholic Chicago on WNDZ 750 AM. Every Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., the Archdiocese of Chicago presents programming about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Thanks for letting us be part of your morning. Now again, Catholic Chicago.
Z 750 AM, 312-255-8408. Father Greg Sakowicz and Mark Teresi. And that was a tremendous first half hour with Father Medard Laz. Tremendous. We got a great program lined up second half. Todd Williamson, the director of the Office for Divine Worship, joins us for the second half hour of the program to talk about a couple of upcoming Archdiocesan celebrations. The first upcoming celebration is the Golden Wedding Anniversary Mass. Todd, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Father Greg. Hi, Mark.
Good
How are
morning.
you?
How are you doing, Todd?
Doing all right, thanks. How can you hear me okay? You
Yes.
were a little breaking up there, Father Greg.
No, I can hear you
But,
perfectly well. We're just adjusting to new headphone sets here. And now, Todd, you have been the director for the Office for Divine Worship for how many years now?
I'm in my 22nd year.
Wow.
22nd year. What did you do
Yeah.
before this position? Before you took...
I was I was hired as the associate director in the Office for Divine Worship. And then prior to that, I was a pastoral associate in one of the parishes in the Archdiocese. I taught up at Regina High School.
Did you?
In my experience as well.
Todd,
No.
where's home? Where did you grow up?
In Michigan.
Well, see, I thought you were
Just
born and
across the-
raised
just
in
across the
Chicago.
pond.
Okay. So then you came to Chicago in your 20s?
Yeah. Hmm.
That's amazing. So you're a Michigan-born son.
I am. I am. But we're all Midwestern in this area around the lake,
Exactly.
so we're just cousins to those in Chicago.
Now, before we get into different events that are coming up, and you work year-round and do a tremendous job, and I see you often coordinating huge events at Holy Name Cathedral, is how has COVID-19 affected you personally in relation to the work that you do? Because, I mean, COVID has touched all parts of our lives on every level. It has certainly touched the Catholic Church and all churches. We've gone through a stage of being closed, limited numbers, registration. Now, thank God we are open, no registration, no limited numbers or social distancing. So how has it affected you in the work that you've been doing the last 18 months?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, everything, right? Everything has had to go virtual. Did you ever think that you would be preaching to a virtual assembly, Father Greg, when you were presiding during the height of the pandemic?
You're right.
Did you ever think that you'd be celebrating Mass in an empty church, yet it being attended by hundreds and even thousands of people who were watching online? I think it gives a whole, I mean, that's what our office did throughout the whole pandemic, helped parishes do that, continue to have a sacramental life in the midst of the pandemic.
And I'll tell you this: the Office of Radio and Television, Michael May, Brian Brock, Javi Garcia for the Archdiocese, Vince Girasoli before that, Jim Dish, have done a fantastic job during this entire pandemic.
Yes.
They have been doing double duty. They are absolute nonstop. So I want to give a kudos to the team to across the glass right now. So to Michael and Brian and Javi, hats off to you and to Vince Girasoli and Todd. For those that can see, you are nodding your head in agreement because you've seen the great work they have done. Because this whole thing of live streaming liturgy, which we also do from the cathedral every Sunday at 10 a.m., and the Mass with Cardinal Supich, that's taped through the team here, that is then broadcast on ABC, draws 250,000 viewers every Sunday morning on ABC at 9:30 a.m. It's changed the way we have worshipped. But you're the first one to say, folks, if you have an opportunity, please go back to church, go back to your community.
Well, it's brought us into that social media world that we may have been avoiding, and all of a sudden we didn't have a choice if we were going to continue to pray and communicate with our folks.
It really is like everything else in life, Father Greg and Mark. It really is about balance, isn't it? Because certainly virtual worship does not in any way replace in-person worship. We are called. We are baptized into the body of Christ, and the physical presence of the body of Christ in the church to celebrate the Lord's Supper is tantamount to being Catholic, and you just can't do that fully virtually. Thank God, virtual helps. Brian in the tech room there will attest. Virtual does help people in certain situations, but as soon as people are able, we need to come back together.
And I think you said so beautifully, Todd. I'm the first one to say, during difficult times, live stream is wonderful, but two things are missing: Eucharist and community. And there's no substitute for those two. But I tell people, if your health is compromised, or you feel anywhat uncomfortable coming, then please stay at home. But it's not meant to be a substitute for the rest of your life. But under these times, and also the numbers going back up, I totally understand and get that at this time. So now if we just kind of switch gears for a moment, even though the pandemic has been, I don't want to use raging, and the numbers are going back up again, 62 deaths recently here in Illinois, it hasn't slowed down what's happening with the Archdiocese. So tell us first of all about the upcoming celebration, the Golden Wedding Anniversary Mass, which will be held when, Todd?
That's going to be on September.
Is it
Give me 1
19th?
second.
September 19th?
That's going to be September 19th, and it's at St. John Brebeuf in Niles. And one thing we just need to remember is we haven't done this in a year and a half. It was an annual celebration for all those who are celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary, which is truly a profound reality if you think about it. All of these couples who were married in the church 50 years ago and are still together and still in a loving marriage, they are invited to come together with a mass for the cardinal to celebrate that extraordinary event. I don't know about you two, but I don't know a great number of people in my own personal life who have been married for 50 years.
Yeah.
Well, and we're 40. My wife and I are 40, so 50 is not that far away. I mean, that's amazing.
No, not that.
What an amazing commitment, though. 50 years.
Now,
what time is the mass?
2:30 in the afternoon.
Now, are couples still allowed to sign up to be part of this, or how does that work, Todd?
You know, I believe they are. It's actually handled through another office,
Gotcha.
and our office certainly helps. And if you go to the Archdiocesan website, archchicago.org, there will be links that you're able to find.
To the Golden Wedding Anniversary Celebration.
Can I ask one other?
There's like 200 couples right now.
Okay, it's terrific.
So at the mass, I'm just asking. I'll get ready in 10 years. But do the couples renew their vows?
That's a great question. Mark. So the footage that is being played right now, that is the portion of the Mass where the couples renew their commitment. Now,
right.
You might get me for splitting hairs here, Mark.
That's
but
all right.
People actually don't renew vows.
Mm-hmm.
You can't renew a vow. A vow is made once and for all. And so we call it renewing vows, but in reality, that's not what happens. The couples vow themselves to each other at their marriage for life, and that cannot be redone. And so what the church gives in this instance is the renewal of the commitment, not the renewal of vows. And it's a beautiful part of the Mass. It's after the homily, and Cardinal Cupich invites the couples to stand.
Oh,
and
nice.
He says, on the 50th anniversary of that celebration at which you joined your lives in the unbreakable bond through the sacrament of matrimony, you now intend to renew before the Lord that commitment. And the husbands and the wives, they stand, and the husbands say to the wives, "Blessed are you, Lord, for by your goodness I took Mary as my wife." And then the wife says to the husband, "Blessed are you, Lord, for by your goodness I took Bill for my husband." And does that sound familiar to either of you, Father Greg?
It sounds beautiful. It sounds beautiful.
Blessed are you, Lord, for by your goodness.
Mm-hmm.
That's the preparation prayer
right,
that you say over the bread and the wine.
Exactly.
Right?
It's exactly right. And
my wife thought that Mass would provide her with an option to renew.
And what I find is I know Cardinal Cupich really enjoys presiding at that anniversary Mass. He gets energized to see all those couples before him, 50 years, which means for this year goes back to 1971, 50 years later. But he has said to me, I really enjoy presiding at that liturgy. It's like a shot in the arm about good times and bad, and sickness and health until death do us part.
Could I ask one other question related to that? No, so the couples are invited. Are guests invited? Or, I mean, St. John Brebeuf's a big place, but you're going to have a lot of couples there. So is it limited just to the couple?
No, it isn't. I believe they have. I believe they're given a number of family members that they're able to invite based on the space that's provided.
I think it's 4 or 6 beyond the couple.
Well, good.
Mark, take us to break.
Okay, WNDZ 750 AM, Catholic Chicago. 312-255-840, youtube.com/CatholicChicago. We're speaking with Todd Williamson, the director of the Office of Divine Worship. When we come back, he will share some more events that are coming up that we can enjoy through the Archdiocese of Chicago. We'll be back in a few minutes. Please stay tuned.
Welcome back.
Es fabuloso verlos.
Dobrze jest znowu być razem.
It's good to be together again.
After so many months apart, pandemic capacity limits have been lifted, and we want to welcome everyone back to church. We can all pray together again. And listen as our choirs lift their voices in song.
We've been together in spirit.
And now, when you are ready, our doors are open wide.
Nuestras puertas están abiertas de par en par.
Nasze drzwi są otwarte.
And we're here to welcome you back to Catholic Mass.
There is so much waiting for you at Catholic Charities Senior Services. We offer programs and services to help make the most of every day. Friendships and fun are guaranteed at our drop-in senior centers. Our adult daycare centers offer enjoyment and greater supervision to seniors who need it, while their caregivers get a break. Holy Family Villa provides a beautiful, safe environment for seniors looking for short or long-term residential facility. And we offer assistance with senior benefits, care coordination, congregate and home-delivered meals, hospital transition, and much more. For more than 100 years, we have accompanied seniors through every transition in their lives, and we are here for you now. Catholic Charities is a name and an agency you can trust. Call Senior Services today at 312-655-7700. That's 312-655-7700.
I feel special. I feel great. I got good grades.
We've seen a huge surge in our kids now meeting or exceeding grade level. Come check us out. You may have never thought we were an option before.
We're back. Catholic Chicago, WNDZ 750 AM, 312-255-8408. You can also see us on youtube.com/CatholicChicago. We're with Todd Williamson, Director of the Office of Divine Worship here in Chicago. And let's continue our discussion. Let's switch topics a bit and move, Todd, to the upcoming Archdiocesan Awards. If you can fill us in and our listeners on what's ahead.
So that's being celebrated on October 3rd, Sunday, October 3rd at 2:30 in the afternoon at Holy Name Cathedral. And the annual Archdiocesan Awards, they've been going on, oh my gosh, Father Greg, I don't know if you can remember, but back early 2000s, Cardinal
at least
George,
20 years.
Yeah, Cardinal George established it. And it's the giving of the Christe Fidelis Award, which comes from a papal exhortation that St. John Paul II wrote in 1988, Christe Fidelis Laici, which was a pastoral letter in which he called the faithful to exercise their baptismal responsibilities of spreading the mission of the church. So it's bestowed on a layperson. A pastor is given the opportunity to nominate somebody from his parish. It's given to individual Catholics who have demonstrated by participation in parish life. So in the life of the parish, those people who have been extraordinary in their Catholic life. They demonstrate the personal and the ministerial renewal that Pope John Paul II called the faithful to. That's where that's kind of the criteria for the giving of this award. And every pastor in the Archdiocese is given the opportunity to name somebody in his parish for that award.
And Todd, I can tell you that when I was at St. Mary of the Woods, or St. Mary's in Evanston, now at the cathedral, the recipients of the Christe Fidelis are so honored and humbled. They're actually overwhelmed. And when you see all those people gathered at the cathedral, it's truly a shot in the arm for the priests, for the bishops, for Cardinal Supich. They are people who have given their time, talent, and treasure, and they truly treasure the award. Because I'm Todd, you've seen that, haven't you?
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my gosh. And so you have the cathedral literally filled with these people who come forward. Their names are called. They come forward, and there's a medal that the cardinal gives them for this award. They are, as you said, Father Greg, you can see it on their faces just how proud they are and honored, and how they do treasure this event.
And also, Todd, as being a pastor, now a rector, it's our way from staffs to thank people. Now, you wish you could give 15 per year, because so many people are involved, and Mark would know that, in different parishes, but you choose one, maybe two, and it's our way of saying to them, you are making a difference, we thank you. And one person once said to me, when I was there for the event, the celebration, you look around the whole cathedral, you realize there's a lot of goodness in the Archdiocese. And just the way he put it, I thought there's a lot of goodness and hardworking people who are very unassuming. They don't look for the limelight, but it's our chance to say to them, thank you and God bless you.
Yeah. At the same time, there are 6 individuals who are also recognized at this celebration, and those 6 individuals are given the Bishop Porter Award. Bishop Porter was the first bishop of Chicago, and that award is one person per vicariate, and so the vicar of each vicariate recognizes somebody in his whole area, his whole vicariate, as the pastor might do for a person in the parish. And so the Bishop Porter Award is also given at this celebration. It's a liturgy of the word. It's not a mass, at which the cardinal presides and preaches.
Now, so we move from that event. I know you're a planner in terms of the future, in terms of, our liturgies with COVID. Any thoughts or ideas about how we're looking at Advent and Christmas, or is it too early to even talk about it?
It's too early to say definitively, Mark, but because the Cardinal and the COVID task force are continually watching numbers, as you kind of alluded to, Father Greg, earlier, they're watching numbers, they're watching the rise of cases. As of now, the only restrictions that we have are masks, being masked at all times when you're at celebrations in your parish church. But right now, if we were to say anything right now, those would be the only restrictions in Advent and Christmas. But we need to wait and see where we are at that point.
Ty, I want to ask you a question. You've been the director for the Office of Divine Worship now for 22 years, as you mentioned. What gets you out of bed in the morning to do what you do? because I know you are a hard worker that has the ups and downs, and COVID has not made things easier. So what sustains you?
I know how cliche-ish this might sound, but it's because I love the liturgy of the church, and I love working with the parishes in that aspect of their lives. And so the parishes and the Archdiocese, however we can help a parish worship better, worship more completely, then we're doing our job. And so having that opportunity every day.
And I know that's with you. I've worked many years with you now, and you've been a blessing. What always strikes me about you, you are a man of prayer. You're rooted in prayer, deep faith in God, but you are so energized by what you do. You truly love the Lord, the liturgy, and working with people. And liturgy means the action of the people, which is never easy because the ups and downs of life. And also, we all go back to the last 18 months. If you had said to me, Todd, back in March of 2020, the pandemic would be going well into 2021, I would have said, no, it'll be over by the fall of 2020. Well, would have lost that bet. But somehow the grace of God gets us through. And even though, as you mentioned, live streaming is something that we are now accustomed to, and the numbers are beginning to go back up slowly. People are still afraid, and yet we always say God is with us, and God will see us through. And I know you would say the same thing, Todd.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and I mean, it's kind of along the same lines as you two, right? You love it so much that we even have our own radio show around the liturgy that airs.
And now your program airs when? Wednesday on this station, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock.
Yep, every fourth Wednesday of the month. Focus on the liturgy, where we do nothing but talk about various aspects about the liturgy of the church. So just as it's central to who we are as Catholics, right? It's at the heart of who we are.
Exactly.
And yeah.
And I'm always the first one to say everything we do in a parish begins around the table of the Lord. And by beginning around the table of the Lord, then it emanates and goes outward. But it's a primacy of the Eucharist. That's where it all starts and then flows from there. Not the other way around. It flows in the right, we see on the screen here. Focus on the liturgy.
Now, Todd, before we close, what's a message you would have to our listeners in terms of the liturgy, in terms of coming back to church? Any final words for our folks?
Just as Father Greg said earlier, as you are comfortable, the body of Christ is not complete around the altar of the Lord on the Lord's day if you are not there. It's not in its fullness. I mean, it is theologically, it is complete in and of itself, but we all have that place that around the table that you mentioned, Father Greg. And
on that note, we will end because of time. Want to thank in a very special way Todd Williamson, the Director of the Office for Divine Worship. Todd, it's a joy to have with you always. Mark Teresi, co-host, great being with you. And to our producers, engineers, Michael May, Brian Brock, Javi Garcia, to all, thank you very much. To everybody, have a great weekend. God bless.
Join us every Monday through Friday at this time for Catholic Chicago. You can stream our programs live or listen to past programs by visiting our website, archchicago.org, and clicking on Radio TV. And please connect with Catholic Chicago on social media.